So let us begin with NASH therapeutics study streak, and it is day 6, and we are almost around 20-22 remedies so far. And today we'll discuss some major three remedies which NASH describes in relation to each other. Some of them are very vital, and let us begin with the remedy Lachesis. So we are very well versed. We are aware of Lachesis in and out, and we are masters of it. We all know about it. We have been mastering academically about this remedy, reading about this remedy, and we seem to know a lot of things from the academic point of view. But how does Nash introduce this remedy to us, and what are his thoughts and what are his experiences? This is what he mentions in the book Leaders in Homeopathic Therapeutics, Nash Therapeutics. And we are going to take excerpts and understand how this remedy has been mentioned so beautifully and described from the philosophical point of view, from the materia medica point of view, and also from when to repeat, what potency to give. He gives a case and some more details. So he starts with sharing a tribute to Dr. Constantine Herring, who has proved this remedy. In fact, also got himself bitten by the snake, and when he was bitten by the snake, he enumerated the symptoms, and those are what we study in our materia medica. Rarely do students know about this, rarely do practitioners know about this, but this was the fact. And Dr. Nash says that if we were to give credit to Dr. Herring about any remedies discovery to homeopathy, it has to be this remedy. And if Dr. Herring had to just give us this one remedy, we would be forever indebted. Although he proved a lot of remedies, but the effect of proving or poisoning from the remedy Lachesis and subsequent effects persisted for a long time for him to ever recover from it, which is what we see in all the patients in our clinics. So, Dr. Nash begins by telling us that there is alternation of mind and the sensorium in all the patients that we see, and the alternation is kind of extreme. So how does he describe? He says that there is a kind of an excitation and there is a kind of a depression. Some people are very much excited, some people are very much quick, very memory, their memory is active, they are very much sharp, they are very much quick to reply and act. On the other hand, we have some people who are very much depressed. They are not so much good in their memory, they are weak in remembering things, make mistakes, they have some confusion all the time. So you will see polarities, and this has been the crux of this remedies prescription. We always feel that Lachesis as a remedy will present to us with a loquacious nature, will present to us with some key traits that have been mentioned in the materia medica, but that is not the case. We will see the extreme end also, where the patient is forgetful, he is also disturbed and depressed. And we will get to know about this phase of patient by eliciting the symptoms that have happened with him or that he has been through in the past. So case taking is an integral part. Next, he says, Dr. Nash says that there is a kind of a weight on the vertex which all the patients seem to have, and we can elicit these symptoms to find out how beautifully all the patients will enumerate about the weight in the vertex. We discussed about belladonna having everything centered in the head, belladonna facing troubles because all the energies and all the heat or all the congestion happens in the head or in single part. For Lachesis, it is in the blood, no doubt, but there is a weight in the vertex, which is a subjective symptom expressed very well. In belladonna, it will be mostly objective that we will have to find out and understand. Next, what Dr. Nash says is that Lachesis has headache which is similar to glonoine, and every time the patient, when he's exposed to sun, just like natrum carb, he will have a headache. And we always tend to give natramur for such patients, but we tend to forget that Lachesis is one of the remedies which we can think of. Next, he says that the patient always sleeps into the headache or he wakes up with a distressing headache. And he has cured many patients with Lachesis 200 potency, where the patient was suffering from headache or hay fever, and always as soon as he used to get up, there used to be some episodes which used to disturb him. Just take this with a pinch of salt, because allergic rhinitis always has symptoms which are manifested as soon as the patient wakes up. So you need to understand that, and then you can think about whether Lachesis is the remedy, or sulfur, or natramur, or teucrium verum verum, etc. etc. But Nash gives his own case of how he was troubled with Haf coryza and how he overcame with Lachesis as a remedy. I would urge everyone to go and read Nash Therapeutics, and you will find how beautifully he has described it. So, going further, he says that we often prescribe one remedy and we don't know what to prescribe next. And in the remedy arsenic we discussed a few days ago, we saw how he mentioned that in trio of coryza, arsenic, allium cepa, and merc sol are the three remedies. And he says that if merc sol is given to a patient, he does not improve, arsenic follows well. Or if merc sol patient improves partially, arsenic is the remedy that can follow well. Similarly, over here in the cases, he mentions that if merc sol is given to the patient, he does not get well, the condition is deteriorating, you can think of Lachesis. So now you have so much of knowledge from leaders in homeopathic therapeutics, Nash, that you can go into the war zone in the battlefield with the patient and face his disease with what potency he has described, what uh, philosophical inspirations he has given, and how which remedy is to be given, when is it to be given, merc sol ke baad arsenic, merc sol ke baad lachesis, when is it to be given. You should definitely go through the way he has narrated it so beautifully. And going further, we have that whenever you check or examine any patient, you ought to check the tongue. You will see that he brings the tongue out with difficulty, and even if he brings out it with ease, there will be trembling of the tongue. That will be very much similar to gelsemium, although gelsemium will have more of neuromuscular weakness, whereas Lachesis will have either the throat complaint, weight on the vertex, or other systemic disturbances which would point to Lachesis. So these are the key indications. They are written eloquently with a lot of words and inspirations, and I have just picked up few things for you all to get acquainted with. Although the authority, Dr. Nash, has to be referred leaders in homeopathic therapeutics. Next we see is that Lachesis as a key remedy, we see that it is left, right, and center given to all the patients of throat affections, but not on all the sides, only on the left hand side. It cannot be center or the right. So whenever you get a throat ache or pharyngitis or any patient with throat complaints, you will see that there is lot of pain on either side of the patient's throat. If you get a chance to elicit it properly, left side would definitely point you to Lachesis, which is what we all have been brought up with. But what he quotes additionally, along with this mention of throat complaint, is that you have to compare Lachesis with Sapia and with Sabadilla. So once you know how to compare, where to compare, your job to prescribe becomes easier. And he has given the beautiful description of how Sapia and Sabadilla need to be probed in such cases of throat pains, and also remember the complementary remedies, which is lycopodium. Going further, he says that Dr. Lilienthal's therapeutics mentions that Lachesis is a great remedy for constriction, and there is a sensitivity to the throat which we are seeing all through the last two pages that he mentions. But next he says that there is a sort of a sensitivity in the abdomen as well, and this sensitivity extends or makes its presence felt in the anal region as well. So anus is constricted as well, and you will see that there is a kind of a when he attempts to pass the stool, he says that there is a lot of pain, lot of difficulty, very much similar to nux vomica, very much similar to lycopodium. But that will be what will be mentioned by Dr. Nash in his beautiful description, so you can go through that. So the fourth and the fifth page he dedicates, Dr. Nash dedicates in his book to the ovarian affections of Lachesis. He says that just like it has sensitivity to touch in or sensitive throat, sensitive abdomen, you will see that there is sensitivity to touch, and you will see that there is lot of aggravation from hot weather, which will be a key indication in all the patients, especially in females. And there will be lot of weakness, lot of prostration also. Many of the patients will tell you that as soon as we go to sleep, we have severe problems. It can be difficulty in breathing, headache, or coughs, etc., etc. He gives a beautiful case of colic and constipation, very cured. This patient, based upon the indication that there was aggravation when the patient went to sleep. So, lachesis would be indicated in all such cases where aggravation is there as soon as the patient goes to sleep. Next, he mentions is that the nature of eruptions or the swellings is almost blue and bordering towards black. So he gives a differential diagnosis for tarantula and anthracinum. So you need to probe the case from all the angles and prescribe any one remedy which is suited. But he gives the final statement that lachesis I have seen to work beautifully in thin and fat people. So he finishes Lachesis with beautiful description of around 7 to 8 pages, and next he goes to mention about Naja, the blood relative of Lachesis. Now he funnily mentions lot of things in the entire book, and here he mentions Naja as the blood relative, although it may be a kind of a remedy from the snake kingdom, and it helps every sort of patient who has similar complaints to those seen in all the snake serpent patients. He gives a description of how many provers were there for Lachesis and how many provers were there for Naja. After the proving, how many symptoms were there, and there were some symptoms from the poisoning also, and he gives some data about it, but it was not so proved at that time when he wrote this book. This was in 1900. So he says that this remedy needs proving, but what I have seen that it has a action on the heart, it has a weak heart, people who are going into failure. There is a patient, suppose with you, who says that there is a kind of a ejection fraction is almost 50 or 35, 40, and there is lot of problem in the heart region and valvular issues. Naja would be the remedy to prescribe. This I am quoting from other books, not from Dr. Nash. Nash has given just one page of data for Naja, and he says that there is constant dwelling of the patient on suicide, just like aurum metallicum. And he finishes the remedy Naja by telling that it needs proving. So we would definitely cover this remedy from different angles and different authors in future. Next remedy what he shares is crotalus horridus. So he says that this remedy has hemorrhage from every outlet of the body, even the sweat is bloody or brownish in nature, just like the remedy acetic acid. There is a situation where there is a hot climate and low fevers are there, which are constantly there for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. This is the state to prescribe crotalus horridus. And last but not the least, he shares that there are kind of jaundice which are hematic in nature. Blood corpuscles are broken down and not hepatic in nature. These are malignant jaundice which may require crotalus horridus. So more about crotalus horridus and how it will act on the different types of jaundice we would cover in some other session. But today we have taken up three remedies which are mostly closely related to each other, because the next three remedies are kali carb and they are compounds, and that's where we take up the remedies which are almost in relation to each other. And I hope today's session gave you some idea of how Dr. Nash prescribes remedies in different cases. And he shares about philosophy, he shares about uh, materia medica, he shares about his own cases, he shares about potency, he shares about when to give which remedy or which remedy follows well from the previous remedy. That's all from my side right now, and hope to see you all next Thursday for the next set of remedies from Nash Therapeutics.